Greetings, adventurers. Greetings. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and joining with me on this little ride. What is going to be a 5 minutes of your time episode. But let me tell you what 5 minutes of your time episode is. A 5 minutes of your time episode is when I take anywhere between 5 to maybe 20, maybe 30, who knows. Usually no more than 10, 15 minutes of your time. Where, like I said, I take 5 to 10, 15 minutes of your time and I cover a topic that either I thought was humorous or something serious, something I think may benefit somebody, or a cautionary tale to anyone who may need to hear it. But this one is none of those. This one is none of those. This one here is something to kind of make you feel old. You know what I'm saying? And some of you out there watching this are like, feel old? What the hell is he talking about? I'm 20-some years old. What's this old motherfucker talking about? Well, this is what this old motherfucker is talking about here, okay? Folks like me, sick bastard, recycled hooligan, rolling with T-Bone, Motorbomb, Virginia, and I just fucking brain flip on everybody I was calling out. Sorry, guys. But we're old. So this topic here is going to hit us in the crotch, or for the ladies, it's going to be a pop, boot punch. Here you go. So I was talking to an associate earlier today. I've talked about this associate several times before. I refer to him as, the hell do I? Sancho. That's what I call him. Let's slow down. I don't feel like casting this guy. Anyway, Sancho. I was talking to Sancho, and I can't remember exactly what started the comment, but it was something to do with fruit. Like, what's my favorite fruit or something, maybe? I can't really remember. But I said, he mentioned grapes. And I was like, well, in order for grapes to be on that podium, they would have to be seedless. And he looked at me, very perplexed, nigh confused, bewildered, as to what I was talking about when I was referring to seedless grapes. And he asked, what are you talking about, seedless grapes? All grapes are seedless. And at that moment, I realized I was dealing with a generational gap. And that gap was spanned over what I grew up with as a grape versus what he has grown up with, spoiled, bear with me, Sancho, no offense there, with seedless grapes. He has never known a seeded grape. I told him, and even I had to call someone else over to talk about this. And I was like, hey, Darren, come over here, buddy. You remember seeded grapes? Grapes with seeds? And he looked at me confused because I was asking him this very obvious question. He's like, you mean grapes? Yeah, grapes. The ones with seeds in them. You remember those, right? Yeah, they all came with seeds. It wasn't until they started, they started producing seedless grapes. And the realization that my generation, I like that rhyming there, don't you? Grew up knowing so much different stuff than these new generations have no idea. We were the cusp of so many technological advancements and scientific thought I'd do him. I ain't seen that man in a long time, or his son Joe for that matter. I used to talk to him all the time when he came into the grocery store I used to work at. Cut throttle. They're having Bible study. Although myself am not religious, I can respect those who are, so I don't want to disturb the community while they're having their Bible study. That would be disrespectful. All right, so like I was saying, there's been so many advancements in the way our food is prepared, right? Google what a Big Mac looked like in 1980 than what a Big Mac looked like in 1990. then you keep going. You get the idea, right? You're just going to keep going every 10 years to see what a Big Mac looked like, or a Whopper, or whatever Dairy Queen calls their burgers. I know they have a Baconator now, but I don't know what it used to be. But you just search the image of these foods, and that's a great example for the huge gap that's been crossed over the past 40 years. To the point where he told me that they produce skinless grapes now. They're grown inside, free from contaminants. And I haven't Googled this. I haven't seen a skinless grape. I don't know if that's a real thing or if Sancho was pulling on my left nut. Not sure. But I'm sure someone out there has heard of a skinless grape. I haven't. And that's just wild to me. Why would you want to eat a grape without a skin? You eat the whole grape with the skin. The skin is full of antioxidants and stuff like that that are also good for your digestive system, digesting the skin. Just like scumpernoms or muscadines, for depending on who you're talking to. They're two completely different fruits. I don't have the time to go into them, but most people don't eat the skins off those. Now, granted, that skin is a little thicker, a little tougher, and definitely a lot more coarse, right? But I still eat it, and I ain't died, so it can't be bad for you. But the fact that my generation grew up with the house phone being on a cord, dial, not operator, but you know, you dialed the number you needed to reach, and if you misdialed the number, you had to hang up, start that motherfucker all over again. And then they released the cordless phones. They came out with cordless phones, and for the longest time in my household, you weren't allowed to talk on the cordless phone during a thunderstorm because you would get struck by lightning. Of course, that's not true. That's not how it works. It's not like a phone line where electricity can run through the phone line to get you. But anyway, we went from cordless phones to bag phones for your car. And then we went from bag phones to your car to the very first almost Brit-sized cell phones. Very short range, so on and so forth. Then, you know, the cell phones started developing more and more and more, right? Now people don't even have house phones anymore. Everyone's got their own cell phone. No one has house phones. And that's just another huge change in what I grew up with versus what everyone's growing up with now. Like the Dick Tracy, and I'm gonna go blow this 5 minutes of your time well out of the water. So I'm gonna have to end this one here on this note with Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy was a detective. I didn't watch the show or the movies. I don't really know all the details, but Dick Tracy had a watch, and on that watch would pop up a little screen, and he would talk to whoever it was he needed to talk to on his watch. Everyone knew for years that was impossible. There's no way you can have, one, a phone on your wrist, two, a whole ass transmissional device with cameras and everything else. There is no way you could do that. Now look at it. Smartwatches everywhere. Everybody's got a smartwatch. They're talking on the phone. They're talking to their wrist now. Either that or they have one little earbud in and they're having a whole ass conversation with you having no idea who they're talking to. Or even that they're on the phone. Oh, my buddy Phil. I got to honk and wave at my buddy Phil. Hey, Phil. Phil's brother lives right here. You see that cow? That's a whole ass cow tied to a tree in their front yard. But anyway, I'm going to leave this here. I've gone over the 5 minutes, as I usually do. Y'all know how it goes around here. But before I go, let me say this. What I have to say. What I say in every video. And that is, if you will, friends and neighbors and folks and adventurers and ne'er-do-wells, go support my friends Forgotten Angels. Forgotten Angels is a charity organization based out of Tampa, Florida. And what they do is they take the young men and women who have aged up through the foster care system and the abuse there within the foster care system, and give them a shot at life. They give them the education that the foster parents neglected to give them. They teach them stuff like how to drive a car, how to go get a license so you can drive that car, how to get insurance on the car you're about to drive, how to make payments on the car that you have to get insurance for to get a license to drive. They teach them all that, on top of other stuff like working on the car, how to get student loans so you can go to college, and the list goes on and on. The deficits that these young men and women have faced, David and Cindy are trying their best to fill these deficits and get these young men and women a shot at being contributing members of society, a shot at being happy adults. That's what David and Cindy do at Forgotten Angels. Now, if you don't believe me, don't want to take my word for it, you're in luck, friends, because this weekend coming up, this last weekend in October, we're having a Forgotten Angels camp out at the compound. I call it a compound. It's not really a compound, but at the Forgotten Angels compound. They have one twice a year. This one is in October, and of course another one in March. If you don't believe me, go down there yourself. Step onto the property and talk to David and Cindy. Talk to everyone who's hanging out at the property. There's going to be a lot of folks there, guys. And see what Forgotten Angels means to them. And hear the stories of some of the young men and women that will be at the camp out. And see for yourself. And also, my other friends, Possum Southern Rescue. You know who they are, right? They're a canine rescue organization based out of Bon Air, Warner Robins / Macon, Georgia. And what they do is kind of what David and Cindy do, but they do that for dogs. Doggos, puppos, itty bitty pups, big dogs, old dogs, all types. Dogs in need, dogs with special needs. They give them a shot at a forever home. So if you can, reach out to them, see what you can do to help them out. Buy them a bag of dog food, adopt a dog, foster. They have foster programs for their dogs. Or buy a dog a bone, guys. Buy a dog a bone. And that's it. I'm going to leave you guys right here as I'm pulling into... The hell are they thinking? Oh, that's right. Okay, never mind. All right, adventurers. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all later.